Well, good morning. Good morning. It is possibly a late morning. Gotta love technology. I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae. We are on day 3 of my 21 days of living and thriving as Miss Inspiration, aka 21 days of going back live, being back present, showing up and showing out the way that I have been. I'm going to show you a clip of what I have been discussing for the last 2 days. This clip is from yesterday's session. So if you're not following me every day, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern, I will be going live on my 3 social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'm asking you to join me on this journey as well. So day 2, the fear of being seen. And this is why I am facing it head on. That is our journal prompt today. That is something that I'm going to speak about. So my fear of being seen has really stemmed from the rejection that I experienced as a child. And so for those of you that don't know, I always wanted to be a singer, right? I love singing, and I have come to terms that I cannot sing. But as a child, that's what you want, right? So at 5 years old, I had a dream that I was on this stage, I had a mic in my hand, and it was like 20, 30,000 people in the audience. So when you are a child and you're looking at someone as a dream of being on a stage, the only thing that you can possibly correlate to that is singing, right? And so once I realized, like, I want to be a singer, this is the dream that I had, this is going to become a reality. And when I was like in 7th grade, I went to interview with, he claimed that he was So For Real's first manager. I interviewed with him. I auditioned with him, and he was like, no, no. And I was like, so that actually put a lot of fear in me. That put a lot of fear in me, and it made me afraid of wanting to be in the front. Sorry about that. But yes, as you can see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about embracing the different challenges that I have as I am going on this journey of reclaiming and just being visible again, of being Miss Inspiration. So thank you for everyone who's joining me live. And for those of you that are watching on the replays, hashtag replay, so that I know that you were here with me, and I know that this is adding some value to you. So today we're going to get right into day 3. So as for those of you that this is your first time, I have 21 prompts that I put together that's going to help me to guide through this next 21 days of going live and really expressing myself as far as how to embrace being Miss Inspiration, how to embrace my purpose, walking it in all aspects of my life, because unfortunately, I don't often do that every single day. And I realized that, and I realized the areas that I was doing it, and I understood why. So I am doing this because I also know there's other people out there who are possibly going through the same thing. And you might be running and hiding from your own purpose. And I don't want you to do that. So today's prompt is when I knew I was called to inspire, aka when I started to embrace my purpose. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. It took some time to really understand what purpose was. The actual concept of purpose entered my life in 2015 when I met my now friend, Dr. Bola. Dr. Bola and I worked at the same school, and she was just speaking one day, and she was just telling her story, telling her journey of how she ended up being a consultant for us at the school. And I was just like, I was so intrigued. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I was very intrigued. And so when that conversation happened, she just kept using the word purpose. And I was like, I know what the word purpose is. We all know what the word purpose is because we did science projects, right? Remember back in school, we had to do the science project. What is the purpose of your project? And by that time, I had My book was already out because I wrote my book in 2014. I was already published in multiple publications like Cosmo, Dr. Oz magazine. That wasn't in Dr. Oz magazine. Everyday Health, First for Women magazine. I don't know if y'all know that magazine. It's one of those that when you are going to the supermarket and you see like the racks of magazines, that's where you will find that magazine. And I was featured in the magazine. So I was just like, I was operating, but I didn't realize that this was my purpose, or I thought that was my purpose. And so after speaking with her, she really gave me some more insight and guidance as to know that there's more to this. um you're not just the person who's talking about a weight loss journey. You're talking about the trials and tribulations that attribute to that. You are talking about the things that you was able to overcome, not just the weight loss. So she helped me to understand that, because I did not have that level of understanding at that particular time, right? I was still thinking about the success story, and I didn't correlate any of that to purpose, or thinking this is my purpose in life. And I understood after working with her that it's not my purpose in life. It is a part of my purpose. God used that story to get me comfortable and, speaking to people, being a public figure. He gave me that opportunity to have comfort because I was not always comfortable. If you were here yesterday, if you go back to yesterday's message, I kept speaking about how it took me many of years to even embrace being a teacher. So being a teacher, I had to learn how to embrace that, because it was not something that I was actually accustomed to. So I think from like 2020, 2010 when I became a teacher to 2014 when it was just like that era, right? And then meeting her and now having these conversations about purpose. So when I knew I was called to inspire, probably was when Miss Inspiration was first mentioned, right? There was a young lady, she was supposed to be my manager. And I remember we had a conversation because at that time I was working in the after school enrichment program. And she was the coordinator for another program. And we just like was always in the same space because we shared the same group of kids. I had them first and then she would have them. So that sparked the conversation. And literally, when I told her everything, like by that time, I had gone through not only the weight loss journey, not only did I go through my own the miscarriage and having the ectopic pregnancy, almost losing my place. Like I understood who I was more, and I understood I was called to inspire. And this might sound weird to some people, but I understood it more when I was in trial and tribulations. The more trials and tribulations that I went through, that allowed me to realize God is using these experiences to help me to help other people, right? I got an understanding of, okay, I am supposed to go through these things, get through them to inspire other people who are going through similar or who are just facing difficulties and they don't know how to manage it. Right. So it wasn't that I just wanted to be out here and speaking. It was just became an outlet. The same way this is like an outlet for me. It became an outlet for me. And God was just like, no, I'm going to use you because I have helped you to get through some very difficult moments in your life. And because I helped you to get through these difficult moments, I'm now going to use you because your voice is unique. People are going to resonate and they're going to connect with you. And it doesn't have to do anything. And this is when I realized this has nothing to do with the weight loss story, because when I gained the weight back, and again, I'm transparent, so it's not like I went into hiding. It's not like you guys didn't see me. And and it wasn't like, oh, she doesn't want people to know. I wasn't hiding it because it was what it was. there were certain things that was within my control, and there was some things, I mean, now it was more so out of my control, as I'm learning and trying to find more information. But it was just like, all right, God, I'm going to continue to inspire people. He kept sending me people. These people just kept calling. Once my story was out, my story was on different, publications. It's still out there. You can still Google it. I'm not saying that to be cocky or anything, but if you Google Tanisha Shanae, you can still read some of those stories. Some of those people are still reaching out to me. So it's not even that, because I'm honest with them. I'll tell them, like, look, I don't even look anything like that picture anymore. And they're like, but you can still help me because you still have the knowledge. And that's when I just understood. So you really used me, and you really called me to inspire these people. And I just have accepted who I was. I had to embrace, this is a part of my purpose. Because if he's going to continue to send people and it's still helping them and still connecting and still resonating, the different tips that I'm sharing with them, they're still starting their healing journey. They're still out here asking questions, and they're wanting to live in purpose. This is something that I know I'm supposed to do. And that's what I want you to understand. Whatever your purpose is, it's going to make sense for you. It is going to open up someone else's eyes. See, our purpose is not for us. So many people think your purpose is about you. You have to be comfortable in your purpose, because your purpose is going to be a part of you, right? You can't hide from it. You know how many times I've been in spaces where I'm trying to be in the background. I'm trying not to be seen. I don't want nobody to know me. Don't worry about Tanisha. I'm just here. And God will be like, speak. This is the reason why I had to understand that my voice is powerful. You know how many times I have tried to, okay, maybe I can just do all written social media posts, and God will convict me about that, because the writing is great, but they need to hear your voice. We all have a unique gift that has to be used in the way that God intends for us to use it. You can't modify that, because then that means that you're not operating fully in your purpose. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then one, you're in the right place, because we're in this space together. But if not only that, you also have to now figure out, why am I afraid, or why am I running from my purpose? Why am I not doing this? Because I know that I can do this. You have to break down and make sense of it for yourself. It has to make sense for you. Because how is it going to make sense for other people? But I will say, because this happens quite often too, so many times people don't realize that the things that people are calling you for, like, they're always calling you for these different things. It is because God is telling them, and he is sending them to nudge you. Every time those people called me and was like, hey girl, I need help, that was God sending them to nudge me. Again, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't like that. But I had to understand that is what God is going to do. He is going to do those types of things because he knows that this is what people need. No matter what, this is what they need. So you have to get comfortable in being and doing what you're called to do, and just embrace that in everyday life. So many of us are, this is the reason why healing is not happening often. And and how can I say this in the most gentle way? It's not even going to be gentle, because I'm calling myself out too. More people cannot be healed because the people who are supposed to be the healers, we're not stepping up. I know you may not like that. A lot of people are not being healed because the healers are not stepping up. We're letting toxic take over. Like, everything is toxic. Everything, when I put out my book, Dear Single in Love, there were so many conversations that I was having in these discussions where people, because it was men and women sometimes, they can't believe, well, if y'all broke up, why would y'all, y'all had to break up for something bad. No, when you get closer to God, imagine two people that have a relationship with God and they both hear from God clearly. That is not your person. What is the beef for? Why would there be that's unnecessary beef? Because you both receive instruction from the Lord. God told you no. He told him no. So why would y'all move forward? Why would there be any anger, any frustration? Only person you could be mad at technically would be God. So this is why I say, like, we have to get comfortable in being our authentic self, being a person that we're called to be, because when we operate in those spaces and we do the things the way that God needs us, again, I want to stress this to y'all. We got to do it the way God needs us to do it. And this is where I had to be convicted. This is where the 21-day challenge came from. This is why I'm showing up every day for 21 days at 7 a.m. Central Time, despite daylight savings, despite technical difficulties this morning, because I understand that there's someone out there who is struggling to show up to be the person that he needs for them to be because of whatever factor, whether they're focusing on how they look aesthetically, how they speak, their gifts. Maybe I don't draw that well. I don't play that instrument. I'm not perfect at it. He doesn't need perfect. He needs you to be available because there's people out there that need you. They need something that you have. They need a message. You know how many times, I'm going to tell y'all this. This also relates. When I knew I was called. I knew I was called when God sent me, he gave me a message one day. And I sent this message to random people in my phone. I sent this to a person I don't necessarily know. I don't know this person personally. This is not someone who was like my friend. And I remember I sent like 7 people this message and I let it go, right? Obedience, let it go. Next day, I get a phone call from the person who introduced me to that one of those people. And so they was like, yo, what did you say to so-and-so? Why? Because that person didn't get the message. And they was like, yo, because so-and-so came and they was like crying and they was all upset. And they was saying that you saved their life. And I was like, well, how did I save that? I didn't see the person. I wasn't around the person. How did I save their life? Well, what I didn't know was at the time that I sent that message, that person was sitting on the side of their bed contemplating suicide. See, they had a major loss in their life and they felt so incomplete and broken that they was willing to take their own life. And that time that God gave me that message, I was obedient enough. See, that was the time that I had to use the gift of text, of writing, right? That was the time God was like, I need you to write. But I didn't have to send an audio note. But God was like, send this message. That's when I realized I was called to inspire. That was like one of those moments where it was just like, oh, this is what you be talking about. Sometimes it's not a big production. It's not a Facebook Live. It's not an Instagram Live. It's not a video that's going to be recorded for other people, possibly hundreds and thousands to see later on. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's not big and it's not a big production. It's just you showing up and being obedient as to what God is telling you to do. That's what it is. Obedience. So you have to get comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, it's time to ask God, how do I get comfortable? God, how do I do this? Because he can give you those answers. Those answers are going to come from him. So if you ever struggle with that, if you're not sure, you're like, God, I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm not sure how to show up. This is kind of difficult for me. Then that is the perfect time for you to sit down and ask him. Because he's calling you to do something. It might not for you to be Mr. Inspiration. It might be for you to become a teacher. You might be me in 2010. In 2010, I wasn't ready to embrace being a teacher, but that was a part of the calling. I had to learn how to embrace that. That might be where you are today. So this is why I'm giving you this prompt. I want you to take this prompt and I want you to reflect on that. I want you to spend some time today and try to figure out, how can I embrace my purpose? And if you don't know what your purpose is, this is the perfect time. You need to join me, especially if you are a woman or identify as a woman, Inspirational Trailblazers community. We're actually doing a workshop tonight, the empowerment session tonight, where we speak about purpose blockers. What is blocking you from living out your purpose? And you can join that community. It's $20 a month, but if you use code March 25, you see the ticket at the bottom. If you use the code March 25, you get 50% off for each month for the first 3 months. So that's $10 a month for you to get access to this, for you to get coaching. As the community continues to build, I will start offering free coaching sessions for the clients, that they will be able to have a free 25-minute coaching session, especially about purpose, because that is actually one of the toughest topics. Most people either don't know what their purpose is, they don't believe that they have purpose, or they know what their purpose is and they're stuck in this kind of season where it's like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not really sure. Like I'm kind of okay with it, but I'm not really sure about it. So if that is you, join Inspirational Trailblazers and jump on this offer now, because it's going to end at the end of the month. So you get 3 months, 50% off. And we're not talking about 50% off of $1,000. Talking about $20 a month, investing yourself, investing your purpose. Because at the end of the day, that is what we all need to get to. We need to get to operating in our purpose. The one scripture that you're going to constantly hear me say and make reference to in this entire 21 days is, we're all a part of one body, and we all have a part. So every part has their own way, which means that we all need to be operating the way that we're supposed to be operating, so that we can do our part within the body. So many people don't realize that. And that's what God needs for all of us. This is why he sends me here now. 7 a.m. Technical difficulties or not, I am here. So I am going to leave us here. Again, you can also go to Linktree if you are just interested in any of my services. You're interested in learning about my books, Dear Single in Love. I'm actually going to be doing a teaching on that soon. That will be available. Excuse me. It will be it's going to be a teaching series that will be available to everyone. But as always, Inspirational Trailblazers will always get a little bit more. So if you join the community, you get the added value, unless you join the VIP once that teaching series comes out. But Dear Single in Love, it is available on Amazon. You can order it. You can download it. If you're in the Tulsa area, you can go down to Greenwood Avenue, Black Wall Street, Corner Store, and more. Right on Greenwood, you can buy an autographed copy right there. That's that's my first wholesale, one of my wholesale collaborators that is selling my book. And you can also just learn about my different courses or my blog. My blog is actually going to be updated today. So tap into the blog and tap back in later on today, so that you can also get the updated blog post that I'm actually going to finish up today. But yeah, so I'm your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Tell a friend, share this video, like it, leave a comment, let me know that you were here. If you are watching on the replay, hashtag replay, so I know that you have watched it. And if you have any questions or any comments, drop it down below. But I will see you again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central Time. I need to actually put like a little ticker here. 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern, and I will be back as we continue 21 days of thriving as Miss Inspiration. Okay? Have an amazing Sunday. Be well, be blessed. And as always, God loves you.